Hello and welcome to Chapter 7 from Stevens' Introduction to Statistics, the Think and Do book. In this chapter, Chapter 7, we're going to discuss confidence intervals. And before I get into that, I'm going to go way back to one of the very first pages we did in this book where we had some examples. And it's this page here, the introduction. And these were some statistics that students have found. And so this first one here, the average pineapple plant is 3.47 feet tall. That is what's known as a point estimate, right? Because they certainly didn't get the height of every single pineapple plant, right? They probably took a sample, and the average from that sample was 3.47 feet tall. And then they made the claim that the average pineapple plant is 3.47 feet tall. And with respect to the population of all pineapple plants, that is probably wrong, right? It's highly unlikely that their sample mean nailed the population mean exactly. So while a point estimate is a good start, it's probably in error, right? And so I want to draw your attention to number 7 here. The proportion of people who can roll their tongue ranges from 65 to 81%. This here is an interval estimate, right? And no doubt it came from a sample too, right? They probably took a sample of, however many people and determined how many, what proportion, what percentage of them could roll their tongue. And from that they made an interval estimate, right? And so the sort of art and science of getting interval estimates from point estimates is what this chapter is all about, right? And so let's go back to here. So the way we do this is we're estimating population means and proportions from sample means and proportions, right? And a point estimate is just the sample value, the mean or the proportion of people who can roll their tongues. And it's a single value for the parameter. And the problem is, it is most assuredly in error, right? There's probably something wrong with that. It's highly unlikely that you got the population mean from a single sample. So we can do better than that. And that's whenever we arrive at intervals. We create these intervals where we think the population parameter lies. And then the other sort of half of this game is quantifying our confidence in that interval. How confident are we that the population parameter lies within our estimate, right? And so this task of creating an interval and quantifying our confidence in that interval comes in the single term creating confidence intervals, right? And this represents our first encounter with inferential statistics. Right, so the game is you take a sample mean or a sample proportion, and then you try to estimate an interval in which you believe the population mean or the population proportion lies, and we want to quantify our confidence in that interval. And going back to these two, in this case, there's no interval estimate, it's just a point estimate. Here we have an interval estimate for the proportion of people who can roll their tongue, but they don't bother to tell us the confidence. And so when we're done with this chapter, we will not only be able to give an interval such as 65 to 81%, but we'll also be able to quantify how confident we are in that estimate. So that's chapter 7, and I'll get into the details in the next video. Okay, bye.